Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
And this program is brought to you by the wonderful people at Colony Pools and Power Washing. Make sure you take advantage of all they have to offer from the great people at Colony Pools and Power Washing. They do a fantastic job of bringing your home back to life and get rid of that ugly green algae and mold off your roof, off your siding, and off your deck. They serve as Delaware, Delco, and Chester County as well, so make sure you take advantage of them and give them a call at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250. All right, let's just go through a couple of things real quick. Okay, let's just do that real quick. All right, so 0 for 14 with runners in scoring position over the last 2 days. That's terrible. Okay, got shut out again. Let's see, the 9th time they've been shut out this season. That's pretty terrible. Hey, Trey Turner extended his hitting streak to 10 games. All right, that's great. Ranger Suarez did not get hit around like he had in his previous 2 outings, where he allowed, I believe it was 17 hits, 16 hits in his last 2 starts. So that's not good. What else can we cross off the board here? I think we did. I think we got everything. Yeah, they were pretty terrible offensively. Yesterday they were terrible with the pitching staff there, and Junior Marte getting the old set down to the minor league. So that's nice. But let's see. What did I think I got everything. Okay, so now I can get to this. Hey, isn't just human error great? Aren't you so glad human error is part of the game? You know, in a day and age where we have the technology to not have as much human error. There's still human error. Oh, man, who didn't have fun in that 7th inning? Oh, man, wow, this is so much fun. Alec Boehm's at the play, right? And like the bases are loaded, and the Phillies are down 2 runs at that point. And then Alec Boehm steps out, right? He fights off some pitches there. He goes into a 3-2 count. And then, oh, my God, this is so much fun. Wait for the human error part where everyone loves it so much they don't want to get rid of it because it's so great. Okay, so then Alec Boehm takes a pitch that's off the plate, and it's right at his hip. Yeah, that's the ticket. It's headed right to his hip, okay? And he does the old shuffle to get out of the way, right? Because the pitch was inside, hence off the plate, hence a ball. And unfortunately, Alex McKee, the home plate umpire, rings him up strike 3. Alec Boehm spikes the bat because at this moment, Alec Boehm does not really like human error. And he spikes the bat and he gets thrown out of the game. And Edmundo Sosa has to go play third and no run score. It should have been a walk. It should have been a bases loaded walk. It should have been a 2-1 game. And it should have been Bryce Harper coming up to the plate with the bases loaded in that situation. But instead, Phillies get nothing out of it. Now, again, for the record, I am not blaming umpires. What did I do first? I said, hey, 0 for 14 with runners in scoring position. 0 for 4, 8 men left on base today. All right. 9, I think it ended up being actually at the end of that ballgame there. But 9 guys left on base. So I am not blaming the umpires. However, the Phillies' bats have been red hot. They were bound to go cold at some point. And what really pisses me off is that in a day and age where technology is so unbelievably embraced, like I never thought we would see instant replay in baseball, and that's been the thing now for quite some time in baseball. So, okay, I'm fine with it. All right. We've actually seen it expanded in baseball, as a matter of fact, which, again, I'm fine with the technology. You have the ability to make the right call. Make the right call. They've actually made instant replay even more efficient now because you don't see the guy come out with the like he's a kangaroo and he's got some kind of like huge computer in his pouch, and then he hands the umpires headphones from his pouch and they put them on and like a baby kangaroo, and then you listen to a call. No, you actually you just listen to the IFB and then you do it. So they've actually handled that a lot better. So then they just continue to embrace technology, and they put a pitch clock in the game. Now there's a pitch clock. And I know there's some people that don't like the pitch clock, but I like the pitch clock. Okay. I embrace the technology that helps make the game better. Okay. Robo umpires need to be here now. They need to be here now. The technology exists. How many times are we going to watch a baseball game as baseball fans? How many times are we going to watch a game where we see a pitcher go, oh, wow, that wasn't a strike at all. That didn't look like a strike, but he called it a strike. It was actually a ball, but I think it was a strike. Oh, yes, it was a strike, or it was a ball. And then you go to the instant replay, and then all of a sudden it shows you right outside the box perfectly. Boom, instantaneously, boom. Yeah, that was a bad call. And nobody corrects it. Why? Because they don't want to embrace it just yet. Now, I say this every time because I want to make sure people understand this. This isn't taking a job away from anybody. They're still going to have 4 umpires. It's not like there's going to be no umpire behind home plate. There's still calls for the umpire to make that aren't balls and strikes. True, the vast majority of their job behind home plate is going to be gone. But they still got to, watch for, what the pitcher's doing out there. They still got to monitor the pitch clock. They still got to call plays at the plate. They still got to say whether or not a ball was foul tipped or if it hit the dirt or whatever, right? They're still got to be there to make that call. Guy was hit by a pitch, right? They still got to be there to make that call. It is past time to incorporate the electronic balls and strike calls. Okay, I won't call it robo umps anymore. But to see that pitch come in inside with the bases loaded on a 3-2 fastball off the plate at Alec Boehm and him appropriately shuffle himself out of the way. And they even said it after that inning. Now, what's he going to do? Foul it off his foot, foul it off his leg, foul it off his knee, get hurt? Because that's pretty much what's going to happen if he tries to come around and protect the plate, as some people were saying. It's past the time to incorporate it. And it should be incorporated. But again, they didn't lose the game because of that. They lost the game because they just can't hit. They can't hit the last 2 games. It's been terrible. I mean, Trey Turner's got 4 hits in the last 2 games, so that's good. And I mentioned that these guys extended the hitting streak to 10 games. And yes, the Philadelphia fan base has absolutely 1,000 billion% cured Trey Turner. Now I think we can say that Trey Turner, with the way he's hitting right now, let's see, comes into the ball game today hitting .457 with 6 RBIs, 2 home runs, 10 ribbies, 6 doubles, 2 home runs. You know what? I'd say he's underpaid. He is vastly underpaid now, thanks to the Philadelphia fan base, revving his engine. But everybody else, really bad, man. That was really, really bad. There was another instance in this ball game. You can go into the bottom of the 2nd inning. It was the 1st and 3rd situation with 1 out. Garrett Stubbs stepped up to the plate. He unfortunately struck out. Then Yohan Rojas steps up to the plate. He gets hit by a pitch. You got bases loaded situation. Kyle Schwarber works himself a full count. Strike 3. He's done. Strike 3. That was it. That was in the bottom of the 2nd inning. So there were plenty of opportunities here for the Phillies to try to get into this ball game, and it just wasn't meant to be. Luplow. Hell of a hitter, by the way. He comes up there, hits a home run at the top of the 1st inning. Phillies trying to bounce back there. Great play in the top of that 2nd inning by the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber fielding that ball off the wall by Vasquez. Turns around, fires to second. Vasquez thought it was out, so he was just doing a little home run trot down the first base line, then realized it hit off the wall, turned on the Jets, tried to at least get 2 out of it. And, Schwarber made a great play, made a great throw to second base. Bryson Stott just made enough of a tag on the thumb of Vasquez to make sure that he got him out. He was originally called safe. They went to review, rightfully so, because they overturned that one, and he was called out. So instead of having a runner in scoring position there, the Phillies were able to get out of what eventually was not that big of a threat. And then right after that, how about this in the 2nd inning? Right after that, great defensive play by both Kyle Schwarber and Bryson Stott. Alec Boehm follows up with that great over-the-shoulder running catch in foul territory to get out of the end inning. A thing of a beauty. 3rd inning, the Twins were able to get another run on the board there on Polanco's RBI single to right field that just trickled into right field for the 2nd run of the ball game for them. Of course, then in the 7th inning, JAKIB came up with the hit. First Phillies hit since the 2nd inning. And then Stubbs got a single on an 0-2 count. That was the other thing. The Phillies felt like momentum was starting to go their way a little bit there because Stubbs got the 0-2 fastball, or 0-2 changeup that hung up a little bit, and he belted it in the right field. So that was good. So you had 2 runners on at that point. And then Rojas got hit by a pitch. He was down in the count 0-2 as well. Then Schwarber popped out, and then Boehm got called out, unfortunately, on that 3-2 fastball that was down and in and off the plate. Look, I know Rob Thompson got thrown out of the game after Bryce Harper got called out on strikes. That pitch was a ball, but I could at least see how McKay would call that pitch a strike. Like from his vantage point, it was over the plate, but it was low. It was a little outside. He's thinking it's a great pitch. It wasn't. It was a ball. But that's one where I can look at Bryce Harper and say, maybe protect the plate there. Maybe protect the plate in that instance. But the Alec Boehm strikeout, there's just no excuse for that whatsoever. That was just a horrible call. I mean, Tom McCarthy even said when they reviewed it, they said, I think it was just a hair off the plate. And no, it was a big old hair off the plate. And then T-Mac recovered well by saying, it was my hair off the plate. Fellow ball man, what's up? So looking at that is painful. watching that happen is painful. But the Harper called third strike, I can at least understand why it was called a strike. That was too close to take. I think if you're Harper, you foul that pitch away. But the fact that he wasn't able to come to the plate in what should have been a 2-1 ball game with the bases loaded with 2 outs is awful. And Bryce Harper has not hit well with runners on this year. He has not hit well with the bases loaded. He's only had a couple opportunities, but I think he's hitting straight zeros in that situation. Runners in scoring position, he has not been clutch. But still, you want to get Bryce Harper to the plate because you never know. And I would have loved to have seen him come to the plate with the bases loaded in a 2-1 ball game and try to do some damage to help this ball club. Because throughout this run, the Phillies were coming into this series here, winning 3 series in a row, looking to win 4 series in a row. And it feels like you set your watch to it. Bryce Harper comes up with a clutch hit in the 9th inning. I would like to see what his numbers are past like the 7th inning. With runners in scoring position, because it feels like it's over the last month or so, because it feels like it's just set your watch to it. Has Bryce Harper done something special today? No. Well, here it comes in the 7th, 8th, or 9th. He's going to help this ball club win a ball game somehow. And unfortunately, that just wasn't the case. I would have loved to see them get that opportunity in the 7th, and it just didn't happen. It was really good to see Trey Turner get that single. I know that you're looking to just grasp at straws for something positive when you're 0 for 14 as a team. With runners in scoring position over the last 2 days and taking an embarrassing loss yesterday, the bullpen taking that embarrassing loss as well. So that was certainly a rough one. But if there's one positive we can look at, especially on this homestand, it's how great Trey Turner was on this homestand. And I know it's not the lead story, but it's something that still should be celebrated. The lead story is the Phillies lost 2 of 3 to the Minnesota Twins. That's not good. But something that I'll look back on when I look at this homestand that the Phillies just had is Trey Turner turning it around. And now they'll go on the road. They'll see how they fare on a little road trip. They'll go to Toronto this week. I know I've heard a lot of athletes in Philadelphia over the years, talk about something like their struggles. And they'll talk about how much they're struggling and how the fans can be intense and the fans can be a little overbearing. And their request is, find something that helps pick us up. I never thought I'd see the Philadelphia fan base pick themselves up the way they did over this homestand for Trey Turner. I never thought I'd see a Philadelphia fan base pick up Trey Turner the way they did, to be more specific. It's an incredibly special thing. And look, I know we have quite the reputation nationally, and if we're being honest with ourselves, we deserve some of that. But a lot of fan bases deserve it, but for whatever reason, we only get it. We only get the attention for whatever reason. What the Philadelphia fan base did was so unbelievably special for Trey Turner on this homestand. Again, a 457 batting average, 10-game hitting streak. If you remember, he had a 10-game hitting streak earlier in the season where his average dropped 2 points. Now, looking at over Trey Turner's most recent history here with the Phils over the last 10 games, seeing what he's been able to do with this 10-game hit streak, he's been able to raise his batting average about 8 points. The fans, I don't know if it's giving him a pass. I don't know if it's just making him feel better about himself, making him feel like he's not under the scrutiny that he thought he was. Well, he was. But them just kind of saying, all right, you know what? Let's hit a reset button here. Because if we're going to make it into the playoffs, if we're going to win the top wild card spot, not just inch into the playoffs like they did last year, if we're really going to turn around and get anything out of this $300 million guy, we've tried everything else. We've booed him. We've done the kick in the ass like we normally do. That's like our default, is to go to that with the boos and the cheers and the jeers and all that stuff. The manager had moved around in the lineup. Nothing seemed to work. So the Philadelphia fans rolled up their sleeves and said, all right, you know what? We'll take it from here. And seeing Trey Turner over this homestand has been nothing short of spectacular. 10 games, 10-game hitting streak coming through for the Phillies the way he has. Absolutely unreal. Let's see what you guys are saying about this game and this series in the chat. Let's see who's ready for robo-umps, and let's see who's not. Poverty umps? Tanner Plummer? What? I don't know if I get that one. Tyler Bolitz, what's going on? I'm sick and tired of the umpires. I don't blame you at all. Home plate umpires. It leaves a lot to be desired when you look at it. Something else that I'll look at in this homestand, by the way, when it comes to the Phillies and what they've been able to do. Of course, you look at just how they played overall. Nick Castellanos is a guy that has certainly, since the Miami series, returned to that all-star form. Trey Turner, if you get Nick Castellanos, obviously a down game today, but if you get Nick Castellanos going again, if he's playing at the level that we know he can play at, the level he played at for the vast majority of this season that made him the all-star, and then you see him go out there in this series against the Twins and unfortunately hit a little bit of a wall, but has a great streak going for himself, comes to an end, but still gets a great streak going for himself. And you see that type of confidence and that type of production from your 3 or 4 hole hitter, your 4-hole hitter most notably, then this team is going to find another groove this season. And right now, a rut, certainly a rut. It's the way the game, people always say, the game is a funny way to humble you. And you know what? This series against the Minnesota Twins, it's your first series since the series against the Pirates before you went down to Miami and started rattling off series wins. It's the first series since that Pirates series where you go, all right, you know what? We have found humility. It's not all going to be gravy for us for the foreseeable future. There's going to be struggles here. But Phillies are finding themselves up in that wild card spot, which is a great thing. But you need to get Kyle Schwarber going again. There were a couple instances, especially in the early goings of this game, where I thought the Phillies were really going to, start turning it on. They were just missing pitches by Sonny Gray in the early goings of this baseball game. And if you look at the way it went down, let me see if I have this in my notes still. Yeah, here it is. The way they went down in the first inning, I thought they were poised for some success against Sonny Gray today because there were a couple of pitches in the first inning, the second inning, where I thought they were going to start pouring it on. And that unfortunately just didn't happen. Everything was just, a fraction of a centimeter. It was hit too low on a pitch that was hanging over the middle of the plate. Kyle Schwarber had one of those in the early goings of the ball game. Bryson Stott had one of those. I mean, Garrett Stubbs, to end the ball game, got a runner on first base, and he hits a bullet down the first base line that gets gloved and doubled up. So that just goes to show you the kind of luck that the Phillies, or lack thereof, that they had on their side in this game. It wasn't really a lot of that, that's for sure. But if you go to the early part of this game, as my notes are loading here, I promise you this existed. You look at that first inning, Kyle Schwarber flies out to right field, warning track power, a pitch that was a cutter just in on the hands that he just swung under. Bohm was the next hitter in the ball game there for the Phils. He came up and smacked a single to left field. Then Harper came up and he lined out to center. Same thing. Almost got down in a perfect spot, but Michael Taylor and the entire Minnesota Twins outfield have been all over the place in the outfield for the Minnesota Twins in this series. Michael Taylor on a couple of occasions just made phenomenal Gold Glove caliber plays, 3 in particular, one last night and then two nights ago that were just spectacular. So that was an unfortunate break for the Phils. Phillies had another opportunity in the second inning when Bryson Stott got on base with a leadoff walk on 4 pitches. So you thought, maybe this is an opportunity. Trey Turner comes up swinging a hot bat. Maybe Bryson Stott steals second. They get a runner in scoring position. They got a red-hot Trey Turner at the plate still, and they make something happen there. Just wasn't meant to be. He ends up striking out on a sweeper that was away. He flailed at that. Then you have JAKIB come up, seeing eye single up the middle. You get an opportunity to get a run across the plate, and it doesn't pan out. Stubbs ends up striking out. Rojas gets hit by the pitch. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and Schwarber then strikes out on a 3-2 fastball at the knees. In that third inning, the Twins were able to add another run there. It was a 2-0 game. Polanco had the infield RBI single just off the mid of Alec Bohm. Great play by him going to his right to try to knock that ball down. He did. Unfortunately, couldn't get his glove on it to keep it, and a run ended up scoring on that play. Otherwise, I think you would have had an out at home, and you wouldn't have gotten that second run across the plate. Going to the bottom of the third inning, nothing doing there for the Phils except a walk for Bryce Harper, and then Castellanos, who was ice cold in this particular game, grounded into the 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. So still a 2-0 ball game after the third inning. Going to the fourth inning, Vasquez strikes out on a sinker. This was Ranger Suarez, one of his best innings there. Just an 8-pitch inning. Wallner then pops out to Trey Turner at short, and then Farmer flies out to right field on a great catch by Nick Castellanos. 8-pitch inning there in the fourth. Then, unfortunately, the Phillies go down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the fourth. In the fifth, nothing doing there for the Twins, and the Phillies again struggle to do anything other than Kyle Schwarber working a 2-out walk and Alec Bohm flying out to right field to end any semblance of a threat there in the 5th inning. And the Phillies just couldn't find that other gear. And their best example of that was in that 7th inning that we've gone over already. But to see Alec Bohm go down in the way that he did, it is definitely something that is rough. A day off, and the Phillies will be back at it. Barbara Carroll, what's up, Babs? Hi, Farzy. I'm not concerned. A few losses will happen, but we're still in the driver's seat. You absolutely are. Hopefully the Phillies will snap out of this on the road in Toronto, north of the border, against the Toronto Blue Jays, and we'll see what they have to offer in that series coming up. Top of the 4th inning right now, by the way, in San Francisco. The Texas Rangers are trailing the San Francisco Giants 1-0 so far in that ball game. As for what's coming up next for the Philadelphia Phillies, as I said, they go to Toronto. They go north of the border to see what kind of luck they can have up there in Toronto against the Blue Jays. They have fared pretty well against the AL East so far this year, most notably being able to sweep the Tampa Bay Rays and then take 2 or 3 from the Baltimore Orioles. So they have had their success. They struggled against the Yankees. They struggled a little bit earlier in the year against the Blue Jays as well, but hopefully they get right back on the winning track as far as that goes. So after this 3-0 loss at the hands of the Twins, after losing 11-1 over the last 2 games in total, 7:07 start time Tuesday night in Toronto for a brief 2-game series. Zach Wheeler will get the ball for the Phillies. Wheeler has certainly looked a little bit more like himself as of late. 6 innings, 3 runs, 2 home runs that he surrendered to the Washington Nationals in his last start in that 8-4 Phillies victory. So hopefully we'll see a guy like Zach Wheeler go out there and do what we know he could do, and a little bit more rest for himself as well. And he'll be pitching and playing at a higher level than what we have seen. If there's one guy in particular I got to see for this Phillies team go out there and absolutely dominate, if there's one guy in particular, it is Zach Wheeler. If I could see him go out there against the Toronto Blue Jays and handle his business like we have seen him handle his business, then I'll feel a lot more confident about this starting rotation. Because Ranger Suarez, again today, not his best, but still, 6 1/3, 2 earned runs, only 6 hits. I'll take that from Ranger Suarez. He looks like he is starting to settle back into that form. Taijuan Walker, he needs himself a break. He is still going through that dead arm period after his performance yesterday. But even then, still gave the Phillies an opportunity to win. The pitching is not something I'm concerned about. The bats are going to go cold at times. The pitching is going to flatten out at times. That's the ebbs and flows of a season. But it's how fast you can get out of that is going to be the difference between a top wild card team, a number 1 wild card team, and, of course, a 3rd wild card team, which we know the Phillies still had success with last year. So hopefully this is a series that we'll see in Toronto. It'll be a get-right series, get back on the winning track before coming back to Philadelphia, and then taking on a team in the not-too-distant future, the San Francisco Giants, that are right there with the Phillies, and they've been there with the Phillies. Going into today, though, it's important to note that the San Francisco Giants were 3.5 games behind the Phillies, and they had lost 4 straight games going into this game this afternoon with the Texas Rangers. So keep our fingers crossed that the Phillies will be able to handle their business against the Blue Jays up there in Toronto. This has been the Fightins Postgame Show here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. It's brought to you by the great people of Colony Pools and Power Washing. Win and save this baseball season with our friends from Colony Pools and Power Washing. Let the experts get rid of that ugly green algae and mold off your roof, off your siding, and off your deck. They service Delaware, Delco, and Chester counties. Call them right now at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250. Thanks for watching, everybody. Xander Krause produced the program, did a wonderful job. Be back with you guys Tuesday night to talk a little bit more Phillies baseball. And tomorrow, Farzy Show, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. right here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. See you guys then. Bye.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES